Apple is killing the iPhone Fold name before it even launches, and instead, they're dropping a $2,000 device called the iPhone Ultra that fundamentally breaks the pricing structure of every single Apple product you currently own. But before you get hyped about the absolutely insane 4.5mm thickness or that completely bizarre 4:3 aspect ratio, you need to understand the massive financial trap Apple is setting up for anyone planning to upgrade this September. If you have an iPhone 16 Pro Max or even last year's 17 Pro Max, your trade-in value is about to tank the exact second Tim Cook holds this thing up on stage. You are not just looking at a new phone. You are looking at a brand new ultra-premium tier that is deliberately designed to make the standard Pro models feel mathematically obsolete. And we need to talk about exactly what your hard-earned money is actually paying for, because there are some massive, unforgivable compromises hidden inside this incredibly thin chassis. According to the absolute latest supply chain reports from Ming-Chi Kuo, Apple completely scrapped the iPhone Fold name, and this is entirely a psychological pricing play. Why? Because calling it a Fold means they're 8 years late to the party Samsung started. It immediately puts them in second place in the eyes of the consumer. Calling it the iPhone Ultra changes the perceived value entirely. Apple is framing this not as a foldable catching up to the Galaxy Z Fold, but as the absolute peak of their hardware engineering. We have seen this exact pricing strategy execute flawlessly with the Apple Watch Ultra. They introduce a new tier above the Pro, slap a massive price hike on it, and completely normalize spending $800 on a smartwatch. Now, they're doing it with the iPhone, and the math is honestly terrifying. You're looking at a starting price comfortably north of $2,000. Let that sink in for a second. $2,000 for the base model, which is likely launching with just 256 gigabytes of storage. That means if you want a 1 terabyte configuration to actually store your ProRes video files, you're easily staring down a $2,400 transaction. When you factor in sales tax and Apple Care Plus, which you will absolutely, unequivocally need for a first-generation folding display, your total out-of-pocket cost is pushing $3,000. That is MacBook Pro money. That is a massive financial commitment for a device that fits in your pocket. And as a buyer, you have to ask yourself what the actual return on investment is here. Let us look at the physical design, because Ross Young just confirmed the exact dimensions, and they are completely ignoring the rest of the industry. Samsung, Google, and Huawei all make phones that open vertically, tall and narrow. Apple is flipping that completely upside down. The iPhone Ultra opens book style, strictly in landscape, giving you a 4:3 aspect ratio. That is the exact same proportion as an iPad mini. When closed, the outer display is 5.49 inches with a 2088 by 1422 resolution. It is basically the footprint of an iPhone mini, but much wider. When you open it, you get a 7.76-inch inner display at 2713 by 1920 resolution. This is a brilliant strategic move by Apple to protect their iPad sales. Instead of stretched-out phone, they're giving you a folding iPad mini. But from a buying decision perspective, this creates a major software problem on day one. Mark Gurman has explicitly noted that Apple is already telling developers to prepare for dynamic screen sizes, which means most of your favorite apps are not going to be optimized for this weird squat display at launch. You're going to be paying premium pricing for massive black bars on your $2,000 screen. You are essentially paying to be a beta tester for their aspect ratio experiment. But here is where Apple is trying to trick us, and no other leaker is heavily emphasizing this specific detail. The thickness. Multiple sources are saying this device is just 4.5 millimeters thick when unfolded. That makes it the thinnest device Apple has ever produced, beating out the incredibly fragile 13-inch iPad Pro, which sits at 5.1 millimeters. When folded, it is between 9 and 9.5 millimeters. To achieve this, Apple is using a titanium frame strictly on the stress-bearing edges and aluminum everywhere else. It sounds incredibly premium, right? Boo. Think about the hidden costs here. Titanium is notoriously difficult and expensive to machine. If you drop this and dent that folding hinge mechanism, your out-of-warranty repair cost is going to be astronomical. I am talking at least $800 to $1,000 just for a chassis replacement. This makes Apple Care plus an absolute mandatory tax on this device. You simply cannot skip it. If you're trying to save your money and ride without insurance, you're taking a catastrophic financial risk. And that incredibly thin design forces the single biggest hardware downgrade on this entire device. Face ID is completely dead. The chassis is literally too thin to fit the true depth sensing camera system. So Apple is reverting back to Touch ID, building it directly into the power button, exactly like the iPad Air. For a $2,000 device, losing Face ID feels like a massive leap backward in user experience. Think about how many times a day you unlock your phone, authenticate Apple Pay, or log into your banking apps just by glancing at your screen. Now you have to physically reach up and perfectly rest your finger on a top-mounted button. Yes, they moved the volume controls to the top edge to avoid the hinge mechanism, but forcing users back to physical fingerprint authentication on their most expensive device ever is going to infuriate longtime users. You are paying double the price of a standard Pro Max to lose one of the most seamless security features Apple has ever engineered. Let's talk about the cameras, because if you're a content creator, a photographer, or someone who cares about return on investment, this might be the absolute deal breaker. The iPhone Ultra will only feature dual 48-megapixel sensors on the back, a standard wide and an ultra-wide. There is absolutely zero room for a telephoto lens inside a 4.5mm frame. They physically cannot fit the periscope glass structure in there without making the camera bump as thick as the phone itself. So if you rely on that 5x optical zoom for your business, your social media, or just taking clean portraits, you're going to get vastly better photos out of last year's iPhone 17 Pro Max than you will out of this $2,000 monstrosity. But interestingly, Kasutami leaked that Apple is absolutely insisting on keeping the capacitive camera control button on the side. They compromised the structural integrity of a razor-thin chassis just to keep that button, which shows how heavily they're banking on the camera experience selling this device. Yet, they removed the most important lens. It is a completely conflicting design philosophy that forces you to pay more for less hardware. Now, I want to pivot to the silicon, because this is where the real value proposition lies if you're a power user. Under the hood, this phone is packing the A20 chip, which is Apple's very first processor built on TSMC's 2nm process. This is a massive leap in thermal efficiency. The smaller the nanometer, the less power it takes to push data, meaning the battery life might actually survive the fact that they are forced to use incredibly thin, low-capacity batteries inside this folding shell. Alongside the incredibly expensive A20 chip, we are getting the new C2 modem, which introduces true satellite-based 5G connectivity. That sounds great on paper, but I guarantee you Apple is going to aggressively monetize this. Watch them turn that into a subscription service after the first complimentary year. They will absolutely bundle it into Apple One Premier and squeeze another $20 to $30 a month out of your wallet for features that should be standard on a $2,000 device. The true reason you are buying the A20 chip is the multitasking capability. With that 4:3 aspect ratio, this will be the very first iPhone officially capable of running two full desktop-class apps side by side natively. If you can actually leave your MacBook at home and execute real work on your phone, then suddenly that $2,000 price tag starts to look like a legitimate business investment rather than an impulse buy. If you can write off the cost as a business expense and use it as a true hybrid device, the return on investment improves significantly. You are essentially buying an iPad and an iPhone in one. But if you're just buying it to watch YouTube and scroll TikTok, you're lighting your cash on fire. The depreciation on a $2,000 folding phone is going to be brutal. Just look at the resale value of standard folding phones on the secondary market. They dropped by 50% in the first 8 months. Let us talk about the one massive problem that has plagued every single folding phone since 2019, the crease. Apple is reportedly using a brand new flexible adhesive technology and a dual display hinge design that makes the crease virtually invisible when fully open. If they actually pull this off, it instantly makes every Samsung and Google foldable look like a prototype from 5 years ago. But do not ignore the long-term review potential here. We have zero idea how that proprietary adhesive holds up after 50,000 folds, especially in extreme heat or freezing cold environments. The structural fatigue on flexible OLED panels is a real scientific limitation that no amount of marketing can fix. If that screen cracks down the middle exactly one day after your 1-year warranty expires, you're staring down a $1,000 repair bill just for the inner display. As we approach the end here, I need to drop the absolute most controversial detail that no one is factoring into their immediate buying decision. This September, when Apple launches the standard iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max alongside the Ultra, they're going to subtly raise the price of the standard Pro line. Think about the pricing psychology. If the Ultra sits at $2,000, the current $1,199 starting price of the Pro Max leaves a massive, awkward gap in their pricing tier. Apple absolutely loves psychological pricing stairs. I am heavily predicting a $100 to $200 price hike across the entire Pro lineup to bridge the gap to the Ultra. This means even if you have absolutely zero interest in the folding Ultra, its mere existence is going to cost you more money when you go to buy a regular iPhone 18 Pro. They are artificially inflating the premium tier to drag the median price of all iPhones up, draining more money out of standard upgrade cycles. You need to look at your current phone right now and make a highly calculated financial decision. If your battery health is sitting below 80%, do not rush out to fix it just yet. Wait until September. See the exact trade and values Apple offers. If they aggressively subsidize the Ultra through carrier deals at AT&T and Verizon just to get them into people's hands, trading in a damaged Pro Max might actually yield a shockingly high return on 36-month financing. But if they play it greedy and offer standard depreciation rates, your best financial move is to completely ignore the Ultra for Generation 1. Let the early adopters pay the $2,000 beta testing fee. Let them deal with the unoptimized applications, the lack of Face ID, the missing telephoto lens, and the inevitable hinge issues. Keep your Pro Max, enjoy your superior optical zoom, and wait for the Ultra 2 in 2027 when the production yields improve, the price naturally drops on the secondary market, and the software actually catches up to the hardware. Do not let the shiny new form factor blind you to the massive financial reality of what Apple is actually doing here. Save your money, let the market adjust, and make Apple prove this new form factor is actually worth destroying your bank account over.